Support, not healer. There is a massive difference between these two roles that people just seem to ignore most of the time. A healer is someone who heals their team. Supports, however, play completely differently, whether it be simply debuffs to enemies or entire new mechanics altogether. Supports are very versatile in comparison to just healing, and I'm not talking about those hybrid characters who both heal and debuff, because they usually end up just being carbon copies of each other and not really having anything unique to add to the table. They can be good, but that's not the topic of this video. I'm talking about full-on supports, the kind where their entire kit is based around it, and why I think they're underappreciated. So, what kind of measurements am I using to define a support? I'd like to split them into multiple definitive reasons, but with how varied some characters out there can be, I'd rather not. So I think that in a vague way, a support is rewarded for helping their team without asking, relies on their team to win with what they give them, causes teammates to naturally want to help them and even keep them safe, and most important, actually have impactful effects on the game as a whole. This is the core behind every good support character in my eyes, and I'm gonna pick apart 3 of these supports to find their faults, or why they succeed. And why not start off with the worst, that being Loba from Apex Legends. Wait, shit, wrong game. Now, unless you've been living under a rock for like 7 years, I'm not going to explain how a battle royale works, but Apex and its twist on the genre is that each of its characters comes with a passive class ability, an actual passive ability, an active ability, and an ultimate. Loba is in the support class, so her passive from the class alone allows her to craft her teammates' respawn cards without going to their box, and also get more loot from blue supply bins. Her actual passive is that she can see epic and legendary loot through walls. Now, besides the obvious, there are 2 reasons why most people would actually pick one character over another in this game: their active and ultimate ability. Loba's ability is that she can throw a ring to teleport to, and that's it. She can end it early, but that's the long and short of it. Her ultimate is what's important. Called the Black Market. She can place it down, and all loot in its radius is able to be taken by you and your teammates. But you can only take 2 items max, and no, this doesn't count, don't comment about it. Just a fairly simple character whose supportive niche is that she gives loot to her teammates. Now, here's where everyone dislikes the video, because it's time to get a little bit critical. Apex is a hard game to make a good support in. I mean, hell, Rampart, Caustic, and almost every control character who isn't a support by the game's margins are more supportive of their team than Loba. After all, Apex has more of a focus on gunplay than its abilities. Abilities are more of a supplement to change up the gameplay slightly, rather than being the main focus. That's the problem here. Apex at a base level will not have any strong supportive abilities besides just stat changes or a barrier, because anything more than that would just be too much. At the end of the day though, Loba really doesn't fall into being a good support. The only good thing she has going for her team-wise is that it takes less time to loot overall. And I know what some of you are gonna say in the comments, but I know damn well that none of you Loba players ping loot for your teammates through walls, so don't even say it. Other than that though, she has nothing. While she's not a bad character by any means, as a support, she completely fails. Our next character, though, wasn't failed by the game, but by their creators, Symmetra. I have a lot to say about this character, but for anyone unaware, 2 teams, ability-based shooter, each team has an objective to do, each character has a passive, several abilities, and an ultimate. That's the long and short of it. There's tons of other stuff, but that doesn't matter for this video. What matters is that Symmetra, as of now, is a DPS through and through. It wasn't always this way though. Back in the release days of Overwatch, she was considered a support. She had turrets which would slow down enemies, a permanent shield of 25 HP she could give to her teammates, and a teleporter for her ultimate that would allow anyone to come back from the spawn incredibly quick. The one problem she had though was, she kinda sucked. Like, badly. She had gone through so many changes over the years, and even 2 major reworks of her entire character, gaining new abilities and even a new ultimate. And it was only until after, and I quote, 827 days after her release that she actually got her first real balance change. Nowadays, she sits as a DPS character, but I believe that if she wasn't butchered by Blizzard, she could have been one of the most interesting supports in the game. After all, who wouldn't defend the thing giving you 75 extra HP, or the person giving you a chance to stay in the fight after dying? The thing is, the devs just gave up on trying to balance her and just put her in the DPS category, which is honestly depressing because I know a bunch of Sim 1.0 and 2.0 players that loved her supportive playstyle. And even without being around back then, if any of you played her during the recent Overwatch Classic event, I think you'll know what I mean by this whole rant. Sim could have been made into one of the best supports, but she was ruined by a development team that didn't want to give her the tools she needed. And sadly, that's all it takes to ruin a good character. Okay, now hear me out. I know a lot of people don't look to Secret Lab as a competitive game, and my videos certainly don't help with that, but looking at the game from this lens can show you one of the best supports ever created. So I'll explain the game to anyone unaware. SCP Secret Laboratory is an asymmetrical game which takes place at a Foundation facility, in the middle of a containment breach. The map can be split into 3 parts, Light Containment Zone being on the bottom of the map, Heavy/Entrance Zone being in the middle, and finally Surface Zone, obviously being on the top. Now on to the teams. There are 3 of them. They include the SCPs, whose goal is to kill everybody. That's basically it. Then there's the Foundation, or the blue team to make it any easier. They consist of the MTF, facility guards, and scientists. Their main goal is to neutralize the SCPs and help any scientists escape from the facility. Escaped scientists respawn as an MTF, and any dead players can spawn in as an MTF later into the round. The Chaos Insurgency, or green team, consists of the Chaos Insurgents, who act the exact same as the MTF, but green. And the D-Class, who play the same as scientists, but for the green team. They can win by having more D-Class escape than the scientists, but basically every team can win if they're just the last ones alive, so it doesn't really matter. Now, on to the actual SCP I'm talking about, 079. He is very, very unique compared to everyone else. For starters, you don't have a body. Instead, you control the electronics behind everything in the facility, and see out of the cameras located in almost every single room. His almighty power is closing and opening doors. Wait, trust me, it's much cooler than it sounds. He can also lock these doors. Okay, well, I know it sounds funny, but 079's ability to go anywhere in the facility at a moment's notice, giving constant information to his team with his actual map of the randomly generated hallways. Oh yeah, did I mention this map is randomly generated? Along with his scanner that allows him to see the location of camping players, located literally everywhere. Okay, you know what? Let's just refresh ourselves. 079, he needs his team, and his team needs him. He only has one way to directly kill players, and it only works if they don't know he's watching them. Computer spawns at level 1, and he can upgrade his level by earning points, which can be earned from helping his team with kills or other random helpful tasks. Now, I mentioned a lot of powerful abilities, but he only gains access to them when he levels up over time, and most of his consistent form of support is closing doors on running enemies, either just slowing their pace or straight up game ending them. A good computer player can quite literally change the pace of the entire game if they use his abilities to the fullest. And I know this sounds kinda corny, but you genuinely build a sense of camaraderie with your teammates as this character, because you not only enable them to get kills, but also direct them with the general strategy, as you effectively play as the general of the team, playing an RTS with real players. Huh, kinda like another game, but it actually works. Now, he's not all-powerful. There's 3 generators in Heavy that human players can activate in order to destroy him, and every SCP on your team is ready and willing to help you at a moment's notice, which is honestly weird to think about. After all, in most other team-based games, players are willing to help each other, but only to win. But in this case, your teammates will literally sacrifice themselves in order for you to live a few extra minutes, and it can go the other way as well. It's just genuinely incredible how well-made the computer is in the way of being a support, and he's by far one of my favorite characters in multiplayer gaming as a whole. So if you've taken anything away from this video, it's that I love supports done right, and we don't have nearly enough of them. Hey, you've made it to the end of the video. This is my first time making one of these video essay type things where I talk about something I'm interested in, so any feedback would be much appreciated. Also, in the pinned comment, I posted some links to clear up some info I left out of the video, so if you're interested, go check them out. Anyways, bye. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad do you think this is gonna lag the server? How bad do you think it's gonna... Oh my god! Ow! My ears! Wow!